welcome to another session of Derry's Travel Chat. And today for November 26th, 2020. And throughout the show, if we have any viewers from the United States, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you enjoyed your time with family and friends yesterday and had lots of turkey and so on. 2020 has been a year like no other, so we all have a lot to be thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
This week, I will be chatting with Louise Paquette. Did I do that good?
No, you did that great.
The Jamaican Tourism Board. Louise has been joined the Jamaican Tourism Board back in 1996. Where she's been responsible for the areas of Quebec and Atlantic Canada, working with myself like as an advisor and with the consumers. She has a passion for her destination and loves to travel there. So before that, Louise worked with Air Canada as a flight revenue controller for the Caribbean, and for the big Montreal Airport Authority as Director of Marketing and Development. She's been an avid traveler since a very young age and loves to discover various cultures. And when not traveling, she loves just talking about Jamaica, man.
That's what we're doing today.
Welcome, Louise, to Derry's Travel Chat. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on with me today.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine.
And I know we're in a very strange world here right now, and travel has, for the second wave now has really starting, I think, may even come to a halt for a short period of time in people's minds. I know here in Newfoundland, people are just not, they're not interested, nothing for 2020, and even probably in early 2021. As long as the numbers are on the rise like this, there's really no appetite for travel, or people want to do the travel, but they just don't want to take that chance. So I know that has
they will eventually. They will.
and that's the purpose behind Derry's Travel Chats, is not to say to people, look, you need to hop on a plane today. It's at some point, hopefully the world will get back to where we enjoyed just being able to go. And if we just want you to be able to know what's available, know what's out there, when you're ready, have those plans in place. So this is what Derry's Travel Chats is all about. It's not in any way, shape, or form saying that you must go anywhere or telling people, that kind of thing. So, but it's all about information sharing for our consumers and my clients and anyone else who views the show. So with that, I know, Louise, you have a PowerPoint presentation, and in that, just for the viewers, I've asked Louise to talk about how Jamaica is preparing with COVID readiness protocols and that. And just to give an overview of, what you can expect in Jamaica. Now, maybe, a lot of people have been there already, and that's great. But if you haven't, I'm sure you will enjoy seeing some of the places and some of the activities that you can enjoy, because I've been there a couple of times and I can't wait to go back. So
you're not the only one.
You want to set up the shared screen there now, Louise?
We'll do that right away. Here we go. See, you're all set up.
All right, perfect.
So what we did want to let you know was that Jamaica has actually been welcoming visitors since June 15th. But there has been some strict sanitary measures put in place. So what Jamaica has done is create 2 resilient corridors, one on the north coast where most of the hotels are located. So from Negril, the west end of the island, all the way to Port Antonio on the eastern end, and then on the south coast from Negril to what we call Milk River. And these resilient corridors are all of the hotels located right along the coastline. And we truly, truly ask our visitors not to leave the resilient corridor as a protection to the Jamaican residents as much as a protection for them. So you stay within that corridor. You basically stay at the hotel. That's what we do ask. And there are some excursions now that you can go and do and visit that meet all of the sanitary measures that the government has put in place. So that's a very, very important point. We do request that all visitors request a travel authorization form, and you just go onto our website to get the form. And you're lucky, because if we had done this yesterday, these measures would not have been up until April 15th. So that's brand new. The government has decided to extend the period. So up until April 15th, all residents need to request a travel authorization form. They get it here. I think an important point also, as Canadian residents, we do not need to show a negative COVID test. Unfortunately, our neighbors to the south do. So as you can see, residents from the States, Brazil, DR, Mexico, or Panama to come to Jamaica need to show a negative COVID test. So you put in the request, you fill out the form, you send it out. This form needs to be filled out 5 days before departure. If you request it on the 6th day, the system will tell you that, it's too early and will send you a reminder on the day of. It just takes a few hours to receive it, and then you print it, because you will need to show that when you're boarding the aircraft. If you don't have it with you, you will not be getting it on the aircraft. So that's the important point. And another one is when you go into the resources, you will see the list of all of the hotels, because hotels are beginning to slowly open. They all have to meet certain sanitary rules that the government has put in place. And one of the things that I love about Jamaica is that it's the Ministry of Health that determines all of the different sanitary measures, not the Tourist Board. So we really want to make sure that the staff and the visitors, everyone is safe. And if you're traveling to Jamaica, exactly as if you were home, you need to wear a mask in all of the common areas. There's certain areas, if you're in the pool, in terms of security measures, not the best thing, so no wearing of mask. If you're sitting at the chair around the pool, because all of the chairs have been, they're doing the social distanciation, then you don't need to wear the mask there. And often people ask me, well, if I want to walk the beach, if I'm on the beach, no, you do not need to wear the mask, but we do want to make sure that you respect the distanciation, that you just don't strike up a conversation with someone else walking alongside you on the beach. Everybody then at that point should be wearing a mask if it's someone that's not within your bubble. So these are the measures that the government has put in place.
Okay, great. Sounds like they've really put a lot of thought into making Florida.
No, it's an excellent system. It's been working very well so far.
Have you had many people applying, Louise?
Well, so far we've had more than 2,000 Canadians who have traveled. And I mean, summer and September, these are not the high demand period, so it's going well. We're getting more and more people looking at traveling, but most are looking to travel for 2021, so that we know, and we are realistic. But you need to start opening slowly. You need to train all of the staff. So these are the important measures that have been put in place so far.
Louise, I know there's a couple of other destinations, for instance, when it comes to their staff, have kind of pooled their staff into a resort so that they're not going home every night and then coming back and so on. Is there something similar to that with Jamaica?
I've not heard of that. No, they still, but they're well protected. They've all had intense training. Everybody wears the mask all day long, wash their hands. Something like every 15 minutes they're required to wash their hands. So all of the measures are in place.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. So that we want to make sure. So you ready to discover Jamaica?
Let's bring it on, Mon. Come on.
So the point of arrival for all of our guests, of course, traveling for leisure, will be at the Sangster International Airport. And it's a very modern airport. All that you need is there. And especially right now, given the fact that you can't really leave your hotel to go buy all of your souvenirs, no concern. You can find everything that you need at the airport. And what I do love about the Montego Bay Airport is that they really don't do any price gouging. The prices are relatively very similar to what you would find in the cities on the various shops. So you can buy your coffee, you can buy your spices, your rum, your t-shirts, any kind of souvenirs without any problems. And of course, one of the services that is offered at the airport is the Club Mo Bay. So it's a little bit like the equivalent of the Maple Leaf Lounge that we have here in Canada. Okay. Very, very calm atmosphere. It just ends the vacation extremely well. So it's a beautiful lounge with Wi-Fi. Of course, right now the buffet is closed, so it'll be a service to the table. And then, you have the bar that is there. And they do offer a meet and greet service also, which means upon arrival, a hostess will greet you and will take you into an express lane for immigration and customs. So that's worth it also.
Okay.
So for me, one of the greatest strengths of the island, it's its location. It is completely in the Caribbean Ocean, which means warm water, calm water to go swimming in. And it's a natural barrier against hurricanes. The Jamaicans will tell you that the island is blessed. On average, it's once every 35 years that it will be hit directly by a hurricane. Doesn't mean they won't get the tail of it, so there'll be, torrential rains and things like that. But very, very rarely will it be directly hit by a hurricane. So that's a great thing. And for me, it's the beauty. Jamaica is such a beautiful island, and the diversity in the scenery that you will have. If you're high up in the mountains, the Blue Mountain Peak at over 2,000 meters of altitude, you've got the beautiful plains, there's 120 rivers, cascading waters, the beaches, and there's over 3,000 different flower shrubs on the island. So Jamaica's got its own smell that I don't find sometimes in other Caribbean destination. And if you're a bird lover, there's over 250 different types of birds on the island. The one that we have right now on the screen is the doctor's bird. So that's the national bird of the island. It's got a rich history, so you'll find lots of remnants of it. It was the Tianos who actually gave the name Jamaica, Zamaka, which means land of wood and water. They unfortunately didn't survive their contact with the Europeans, but there's a few words of their language. Would you hazard a guess as to what those words are?
Yeah, man.
No, that doesn't come from them, but a barbecue, a hurricane, a lantern, a canoe does.
Okay.
So the Spanish were the first Europeans to land on the island. They were looking for gold and silver and precious stones. They didn't find any of that, but they did find drinking water. So that's one of the thing about Jamaica is you can drink the water from any tap anywhere. Never really settled the island. So it was the British when they arrived in 1655 that found the strength of the island and started these mega huge sugarcane plantations. So you will find a lot of these great houses throughout the island. And if you've seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
that was actually based on the capital at the time, Port Royal. So that's east, just a little bit on the other side of Kingston. And unfortunately, it was destroyed in an earthquake in 1692. So then the capital was moved inland to Kingston. So lots and lots of history that you will find on the island. And as any Caribbean island, you will find all kinds of things that you can do, but some of them are very specific to Jamaica, and we'll discover them just a bit later on. Do you like golfing?
I do. I love to watch it.
Well, you'll get a chance to play it while you're on the island. There are over 12 golf, sorry, one of them just closed, 11 golf courses on the island. 4 of them are located in the Montego Bay area. So golfing. And then what I love about Jamaica is I'm a foodie. I love to eat. And no matter where you are, you can stop along the road and pick up some fresh mangoes, because Lord knows they don't taste anything like what you pick up here at the grocery store. Or any of the vendors, you can safely eat it without any concern. So the national dish, of course, is jerk chicken. Have you had a chance to go to Scotchies on the times that you were on the island?
No, I was.
Okay, so put that down. You have to write that down on your list. That's a place where you need to stop. It's just outside of Montego Bay, and
Okay.
they cook jerk chicken the authentic way. So it's on coals, and then they put the meat on pimiento branches. That's the tree that gives you the allspice.
Okay.
And then they cover it with a sheet of metal. And then the meat is cooked slowly. It's juicy, it's spicy, it is so good. And it's served with a festival, which is a fried bread. Ackee saltfish. I mean, Newfoundland and Jamaica have been trading for more than 400 years. So screech comes from Jamaica, and in exchange, the saltfish, so cod, comes from Newfoundland. So that's the national breakfast in Jamaica. And if you're looking into drinking, well, I have to say, I've never had any complaints about the Red Stripe. So that's the local beer, and they still serve it in that, glass bottom. And then the rum, the coffee.
It's all good.
It's all good. So the beaches on the island are amazingly beautiful, beautiful white sand beaches. But I have to be honest, they're short. Other than the Negril area on the western tip of the island, beautiful white sand beaches, but they will be 1/2 kilometer to 1.5 kilometers. So as long as you know that before you leave, you're fine, you'll know. But because you're in the Caribbean Ocean, you can so easily just walk into the water and just enjoy. And of course, honeymoon is one of our major markets. Weddings and honeymoons at destination. It's so easy to get married in Jamaica. All of the hotels have wedding coordinators. So anyone wants to get married, you just contact Derek and he'll set it all up for you.
That was my first trip there. My sister actually got married at the
See?
Holiday Inn Sunsbury. Yeah.
So we have a witness. And 6 beautiful areas that you can go to. They're all different from one to the other. And I think that's why people go back to Jamaica time after time, because they're discovering new regions to the island. Even myself, who's been for more than 20 years, I'm still discovering new things when I go. So Montego Bay is the advantages of the city. It's the history, the shopping, the nightlife. Ocho Rios, it's nature, soft adventure. Negril, the beach. Kingston, the capital, the arts, culture. South Coast is a lot of ecotourism. And Port Antonio is the mountains. Just amazingly beautiful. And the greatest strength of the island, of course, is its people. They are warm. In French, we would say a joie de vivre. they, you know, and welcoming people. We do have a hotel school on the island, so the staff is very well trained. You know, the accent is really on the service. So you just go back and back for their smile and their joie de vivre. And cruising, Jamaica is very well known. It's got three major ports, being Montego Bay, Falmouth, Ocho Rios. But we also have new areas that are being slowly developed. So Port Antonio and Kingston via Port Royal. So those are interesting. They're new. You probably had several clients that have done the three traditional. So if they want to try something new, that might be interesting for them.
Is there a specific cruise line that are?
There are several. They're more European than Americans, but yeah, you can easily find them. So this is the map of the island. So Jamaica is actually the third largest island of the country, English-speaking island, although Jamaicans will speak in their own patois. So the yaman that Derek has been giving us, the no problem. If you hear soon come, it's got basically two meanings. If I tell someone I soon come, then I'll be back soon. Or if the barman tells you soon come, your drink may come between 5 minutes or 15 minutes. But you're on island time. You just need to relax and just enjoy it. So as we mentioned, Sangster is your point of arrival. And now we're east of that will be Ocho Rios. The two beautiful mountain chains that I was talking to you before are located right east of the island. So the temperatures will be cooler there, really 28 to 32 degrees. And a little bit more rain that you will find because of the amazing tropical forest. Montego Bay is more in the averages, and the Grill easily up to 35 degree. And it's much more dry in this area. So we'll discover some of those areas. Have you had a chance to go to Kingston?
No, I wasn't in Kingston. I was in, I did mostly the, I guess you call it the North Shore.
Sure.
From the Grill to Ocho Rios.
So it's really worth discovering. And one of the reasons we're now mentioning it more in our presentation is that there's a new highway between Ocho Rios and Kingston, where before it would take you an hour and a half in these beautiful mountainous road, where it's, you know, you had a choice of the mountain or the, you know, basically an almost like 100-meter fall on that cliff. The roads were not wide, so often you would have to back up to let the truck pass. So a lot of people were sort of wary of being, you know, driving an hour and a half on that. Now there's an amazing new highway. It's 2-lane and it's barely 45 minutes between the 2 points. So there are now companies that are offering excursions, you know, day tours into Kingston. So it is a political and commercial center, but what is more interesting in terms of a leisure is the cultural and entertainment side of it. So in terms of the sites to visit, you have Devon House, which was the first residence of a Black millionaire. He made his fortune in Venezuela and came back and built this beautiful mansion. Some of it still has the original furnishing. It's open every day for visit. But to my mind, I did say I was a foodie. There's a little shop in the back of it that's called Ice Cream. And it's not ice cream, it's I-scream, because you will scream when you take that first bite of ice cream. So it was actually named by National Geographic amongst the top ice cream shop in the world. So they have 27 different flavors. I love mangoes. So of course, mango is my favorite. And I debate with my boss, hers is rum and raisin, but they have blue coffee, they have Devon Stout. So they have all kinds of different flavors. It's a must. It's a must when you're there. And just a few steps away, of course, For the reggae fan is the Bob Marley Museum. So that was his last residence. There's also his recording studio. So you will have, you know, his whole life story from his very humble beginnings to becoming an international stars, some of his musical instrument, costumes that he used in the different concerts. You will find it all there. And of course, Port Royal, that's right nearby. I mean, it's a page of history. Port Royal at the time was known as the wickedest city in the world. All of the great pirates, whether it be Calico Jack, Blackbeard, Captain Morgan, all had a residence in Port Royal. And per square foot, they used to say that you had the greatest number of prostitute and taverns for the one church that was there. So unfortunately, part of the city sank underneath the sea following the earthquake, but you still be able to see the remnants. And as we mentioned, the Blue Mountain Range, it's actually the only national park in the country. There are more than 15 kilometers of pathways that you can follow, but there's also coffee plantations that you can visit and see the whole process. It's much cooler because I don't know if you're noticing the people are wearing longer sleeves. There's sort of a microclimate up in the Blue Mountains that the air is much cooler. They'll also have more rain, which it's ideal for coffee growth.
Okay.
So and then we come to Port Antonio, which was actually the Hollywood of the Caribbean. Did you know that?
No.
All of the great stars of the 1950s actually vacationed in Port Antonio. It was one of the first tourist areas. There used to be, at the beginning of the last century, there was one of the first hotel built for leisure people, and it had more than 400 rooms. So this whole concept of us vacationing, we did not invent it. It was there long before us. So that's Port Antonio. So river rafting is very typical to Jamaica, and the Rio Grande is one of these long rivers. The Jamaicans always used it to bring their bananas to the town where, you know, because Port Antonio was one of the greatest shipping port for bananas. But Errol Flynn, that great actor of the 1940s, settled in Port Antonio, and he's actually the one who installed the seats on these rafts, because the legend is that he never came twice with the same lady. So in order to seduce her, he had the seats installed. The Jamaica Tourist Board thought the idea was great, and you'll find it on many rivers now throughout the Caribbean. And of course, Blue Lagoon. So it was actually called the Blue Hole until the movie Blue Lagoon, because that's where some scenes of the film were filmed there, and it became so popular that they renamed it. For many, many years, they were unable to determine the depth. Even Jacques Cousteau came down. He was unable to do it. It's estimated at about 61 meters deep. They say the colors of the water will change with the position of the sun in the sky. It's just beautiful, beautiful. And it's fed by 3 underground rivers. And as the soft water does not mix with seawater, you will have all of these slices of cold, warm water. It's a very odd sensation when you're swimming. So let's go to Ocho Rios, where I think you've probably been.
I have climbed the falls, yeah.
That's our #1 excursion on the island. So Ocho Rios is about an hour and a half, and these are in the more popular areas. So 30 excursions. These are soft adventure excursions. You don't need to be in top shape. You just need to be ready to have fun. So Dunn's River Fall, as we mentioned, is about 55 meters high. And everybody's holding hand and you're climbing the falls, and just lots and lots of fun. I personally don't recommend it for the little ones, you know, children that are 7 years and younger. So what they have done is they've put a little water park at the top of the falls, so the kids can play and have fun. And there are steps along the fall so that you can, you can watch. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can watch them and you can go in and out as you want. And just one point, last year they also installed some zip lining, so you can zip line through over the falls. You can go Blue Mountain bicycle tours. Again, don't need to be in great physical shape. You're going down the mountain, so you need the brakes a whole lot more than you need your pedals. But every turn in the road is a postcard. It's just amazing. And you will stop along and see some coffee farms, a pineapple. Did you know that it was in Jamaica that Europeans tasted the pineapple for the first time?
No.
So yeah, and they exported it. The English exported it towards the Pacific, and in exchange, Jamaica got the breadfruit. So everybody's happy.
Okay.
So Mystic Mountain has been in existence for about 10 years now. It really is an homage to the bobsleigh team that participated in the Calgary Games. Only Jamaicans have a love for winter sports. Did you know there's an actual hockey team? Jamaica has a hockey team.
I have heard of it, yes. Yeah.
So you go up the ski lift that they call the Sky Explorer, and there's the equivalent of a roller coaster, but in the middle of a tropical forest, in the shape, of course, of a bobsleigh. So you can either do it in solo or double. But they have zip lining, there's a pool, there's a restaurant. And last year they added the ragamuffin, which is that picture at the bottom. That I'm not sure I would try. So, and there's also the Anansi Web where, it's a sort of an obstacle course. And for those who are looking for a thrill, you can do the Yaman Adventure Park. It's actually a working plantation, so you can get onto the jetney and they'll explain to you the allspice, the coconuts and bananas and all of these things. But if you're looking really for thrills, then you've got these little jeeps that you just go into and then have a blast. And the whole thing finishes with a cooking class. So you have a chance to try out your hand at doing some jerk chicken. But again, for the reggae amateurs, a visit to 9 Miles. This is the village where Bob Marley was born. So you'll get his whole life story. You may have a chance to meet some of his cousins, aunts, if they are there. And I have to say there will be reggae and reggae only during this excursion. That's important to note, because I've actually had a complaint at the office. So we come to Montego Bay. Montego Bay, of course, is the second largest city on the island and is the capital of tourism, if you want. It's the area where we have the greatest number of hotel rooms, different types of hotels, and then you will find it all. Everything is really in this area. So Luminous Lagoon. There are only 5 places on Earth where this phenomenon occurs. So there's a microorganism that lives in the water. That means that when you move the water will glow. So of course, and it's in excursions that you do at night. And you can actually go swimming in the lagoon. They say that you come out about 10 years younger when you go swimming.
That must be what happened to me.
Me too. So there are 2 different rivers on which you can do some rafting, the Martha Brae and the Lethe River in the Montego Bay area. And you'll find in this, around the town, quite a few of these great houses that was the residence of the owners of the sugarcane plantations. Now, Rose Hall is the best known because it is said to be haunted, that the last owner, Annie Palmer, also known as the White Witch of Jamaica. It's said that she's still roaming the halls of the manor, but it's a really nice slice of history. There were more than 2,000 slaves working on this plantation. It was one of the larger ones. She was killed following a revolt from from the slaves, but she was really known for her cruelties. She killed 3 husbands, hundreds of slaves, and took great pleasure in doing so. Hence
I
the
didn't see
slaves.
I didn't see her ghost while I was there, but
No, so well maybe because you didn't do it at night. So they started 2 years ago night tours where the ghosts are guaranteed. You really will scream when you're there. So as we mentioned before, 4 golf courses in the Montego Bay area. The White Witch Golf Club was actually named one of the best golf courses in the Caribbean by the magazine Golf. So just great. I know here I have written that caddies are mandatory, but in this time of COVID, it's up to the guest. It's up to them to decide what they do want to do. And we come totally west of the island to Negril. Negril, the capital of casual. It's more relaxed there. A lot of the hotels won't even request you to dress up in the evening. And it's a beach destination. It is 2 amazing beaches of white sands. We're talking about 11 kilometers in total between the 2 beaches. And one thing that's important to note about Negril is that you are not allowed to build higher than the highest of the palm trees, which means that most of the buildings will be 2 to 3 floors on its own. So you're not going to have any of these high rises. And of course, because you're on the western tip, you're going to have amazing sunset. So the first beach is Bloody Bay. So that's 3.5 kilometers. Do you know the story behind Bloody Bay, how it got its name?
I remember that they did tell us when I was on the FAM back in 2009, but I don't recall it now.
Okay, so there's 3 versions. So for the sadist, they say this is where the pirates used to cut the throats of their victims and throw them into the water. For the more realist, this is where the whalers who would go off the coast of DR to catch their prey would bring it back, gut the animal, because they would use the fat back then to light their lanterns. And for the more romantic, because you are on the western tip of the island, when the sun sets, the water just turns to reds. Hence, Bloody Bay. So, and the other one, not
the story I heard.
Pardon?
I think it was the romantic story.
It's always nice to have a choice, don't you think? So Long Beach, 7.5 kilometers that you can walk without any interruptions from one end to the other. What I love doing when I'm in Negril is I always leave, with sort of a little backpack with money, because there's all kinds, as I mentioned before, these are small hotels and they all have their little bar, they all have their little restaurant. So you just stop, grab a drink, chat with the people that are there, and it's just a lot of fun. And the third option, if you want, is up on the cliff. So that's how really Negril got its name, because of the gray tint to the stone. That's one of the things that they think Negril got its name. So beautiful properties there, also small hotels. It's a different type of vacations because, of course, you don't have a beach. And ta-da, beautiful sunsets that you will be getting no matter where you are in Negril. So Negril Cafe was actually voted amongst the top 100 cafes in the world. Is situated on the cliffs of Negril, so that you've got 2 options. You can either jump, if you see my cursor, from this one, which is about 25 feet, or where this gentleman is stepping off, which is about 45 feet. And if for a few dollars, they're professional divers, you will see them even diving from much higher than that. So most people arrive around 4 o'clock. There's a lot of ambiance, there's music. And then once the sun sets, There's a live reggae band that will start. You've got the bar, the restaurant, so you can easily spend the evening there. So I do hope you got to Rick's Cafe when you were there.
I jumped off the second level.
I've not had the courage.
And there was two, like you say, two of the professionals. There's a very small, narrow tree with a piece of plank.
Yep.
And I think they said it was about 100 meters above the water. And they would just fly off and
Yeah.
have no fear at all. So
I know it's something to see, and it's just a few dollars to be able to see that. So you just have to make sure your camera is ready to catch them when they
yeah.
they step off their homemade diving board. So there's also a beautiful marine park in the Grill where you can go snorkeling. It's been in existence almost 50 years now. So there's nothing very big, but a lot of different, marine life, turtles. What else did I see the last time? Turtles, stingrays, and a variety of different fish that you can have fun. And if you want more of a thrills, then Cool Runnings Water Park. So the water slides, the lazy river, they even have a go-kart that you want. And then for the really thrill, if you've ever driven a race car, then you can do so at Jam West. That's brand new. That's been in existence just a few years now. So they'll teach you how to drive the car around the raceway, and then they've also got a scaling wall. They're the only ones in Jamaica. They have a parallel zip lines. So it's two zip lines, one parallel to the other, that you can go down and sort of make a race. As you can see, the VTTs. So just have fun. It's just a blast. And the last region we're going to be looking at, of course, is the South Coast, one of my favorite areas. Because most people don't depend on tourism, these are, if you want, the word is coming to me in French. So this is all
the authentic Jamaicans.
Yeah, orange groves, mango groves, all of these are located in this area. Lots of farming is done. So people welcome you openly. They'll stop you. If you're walking along the road, they'll just stop along, wish you a good day. And then some of the vendors along, there's one lady that I know of just by Savlamar where she sells these hot pepper shrimp. I mean, the top of your mouth will just burn off, but it's so good. So a lot of community tourism in this area. YS Falls, one of the multitude of different falls that you'll find in Jamaica. Instead of climbing the falls, they have these big ropes hanging. So you sort of, do your Tarzan and Jane thing. And I always say, for us ladies that don't have that muscular strength, that upper body strength to sort of climb the rope, there are two handsome gentlemen right there to help you. So enjoy. And then there's zip lining. You can do some canoe on the along the river. The Black River is one of the longest river on the island. And you'll have a chance to meet some of the local residents. There are over 300 crocodiles living in the marshes of that river. So that's something to do. And just be wary, because the last time I was there with my group of, we'd brought travel agents down to visit the island, and there was a crocodile right by the dock. And I thought, oh, like he's stuffed. So let's go have a picture with him. And as we got closer, all of a sudden the eyes started clinging. So they do come up all the way to the town. So just be careful. Don't approach them. They're not overly aggressive, and the guides know them quite well. So you have fun. And you can't go to Jamaica and not visit a rum distillery. So the Joy Spence Appleton Estate, Joy Spence is the only female mixer. So that's quite an honor. And that's why they've renamed the distillery in her name. All of the showroom, tasting room, and restaurants have all been redone. You can taste as many kinds as you want. And there's one kind of rum that's really exclusive to the distillery. You won't find it anywhere else. It truly is worth the visit. I learned a lot about the making of rum when I was there. And the last place, and you're thinking, what is she showing us? It's this little bar that was built on a sandbar right in the ocean. So you have to get on the boat for 15, 20 minutes to get out there. And Floyd, who's the owner, actually built a much smaller version for he and his friends. He was a fisherman. So he just wanted somewhere where he could put his ice box, eat his lunch, grab a beer before he went off fishing. And all of a sudden, his friends started coming, and then people started bringing visitors. And it just grew and grew and grew into what it is today. So a blast, something very different. Have a drink, jump in the water, swim a few laps, get back up, have another drink. Have fun. You're not driving the boat, so enjoy. So in closing, I just want to say that Jamaica really truly has all kinds of different accommodations. In the hotels, you'll have your big, large hotels with names that everyone knows, small, intimate hotels, all inclusive. We have guest houses, apartment, villas, really all kinds of choices. And as I mentioned before, all of the big major chains have properties on the island. So no matter what you're looking for, what budget you have, there is something for you on the island. So on that note, that was me talking about Jamaica.
and a wonderful job you did do with it as well. So thank you very, very much.
You're more than welcomed.
I
So
know well, it's been, 2009 was the last time I was in Jamaica.
you would not, there's some areas you would not recognize it.
Yeah, I mean,
Good. I'm putting your name down. You're coming with us.
prior to that, when my sister got married, it was actually 1999. So, but yeah, I hope to get back there sometime soon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot more, activities there. I know compared to 99 and when I went back in 2009, I mean, it was just like night and day. I mean, they had the big new highway going up to Ocho Rios versus the very narrow one where you were scared to death because people were passing and hardly enough room to get a motorcycle in, and they were trying to get cars in between them. So,
yeah.
but I tell you one story that when I was there in 2009, we did the zip line. And so it was 6 or 7, no, maybe more than that, probably a dozen of us in one of those little minivans where they used to drop down the middle seat. And so as you got in, it got fuller and fuller. And naturally, they put me right in the back. And so the driver was going up the mountain on one of those little narrow roads, as you said, they used to take to Kingston. And he would have to stop, and there would be little places and no guardrails on the side and so on. And some of the passengers were really nervous. And someone just said to the driver, or the driver could hear the conversation. He turned around and he said, "No worries, go off the road." He said, "No worries, no worries." He said, "If I do," he said, "trees will stop me."
And I've seen it.
And the trees were coming out the side of the mountain such that if you did roll off, you actually, believe it or not, I think you just roll right onto the trees. So.
And I'm always amazed that so few accidents. You rarely hear of it happening. So they're I have to say they are excellent drivers. They drive fast, but they are excellent drivers. And that in itself is an excursion.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And they tried to, some of the ladies tried to see if I could, if they could put, little plaits in my hair and stuff. So, but
no matter the length of your hair, they will try.
They will. Anyhow, Louise, thank you very, very much for a very informative session. And
pleasure.
hopefully those who are viewing got some information. And again, to those who are viewing, it's all about information. It's not saying that you need to book a trip now. It's think about the future. So, and when we are in a safer place. Again, for those who are viewing, next week, my guest will be Celebrity Cruises. And so we'll be talking with their representatives to see how they're making out and moving forward in this new world that we're in. So thank you very much, Louise. I greatly appreciate
More
you
than
coming on.
welcome.
And I'd like to wish you and yours a very pleasant Christmas break as we start to move into December, and hope everything works out, and maybe in the new year we can talk some more.
It'd be a pleasure. So same to you, same to all of your auditors. And as we would say in Jamaica, walk good.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a pleasant afternoon, everyone.
Thanks. Bye. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.